Hi, I'm Jazzy. That's my real name. YouTube knows me as FeralRaziel and Twitter knows me as Orochi See what I did there? Clever, right? Right? But, seriously. I'm going to make you guys a tutorial on how to crosshatch because it's really fun. Well, I don't know about your definition of fun. But if you use it right, it looks really good. And classes for that cost like hundreds of dollars. Or if your high school art teacher has no soul or personality, then it's going to be really hard to learn that from them. So I'm just going to make a YouTube video and show you how to do it for free. All you have to do is follow my instructions and put up with my rambling and you're good to go. Also, do you like my hat? My mother thinks that I look like a newsboy from old London, and I kind of started singing Sweeney Todd songs, so she got disturbed. Anyway, we'll start. So, cross-hatching is really just a lot of lines. It's a series of lines that gives the illusion that something is shaded, right? So, here is a few examples, okay? I can't draw straight lines. I can't draw straight lines. And still, these lines are not straight. Regular cross-hatching is just a lot of lines. And that's what I use most often. It could be prettier, I'll admit. There's some comic book kind of cross-hatching that people use in comic books a lot, but I've never actually seen people use it because it's a pain in the ass. I do not know what it is called because I'm a professional. Which is really you just make a bunch of shapes. It doesn't have to be whatever the hell kind of shape this is. And it fills in an empty space, so it's not just, you know, a big square. And you can make the lines smaller so that it looks like it's getting darker. Secretly. Over here. Yeah, screw that. And then there's stippling. I'm not going to stipple this whole freaking square. Why did I make it so big? Stippling is just dots. A lot of dots. Lots and lots of dots. And stippling looks really cool actually if you do it right and don't fail at life. It also requires a lot of patience, but if you have a lot of pent-up anger, then it's really good if you want to repeatedly stab your paper. So then you'll be less angry and have something that looks kind of cool and unique. See what I did there? Right. Stipple, cross-hatching, well, I don't know what the hell this was called. Now, cross-hatching and shading is really hard. When I first started, my art teacher in high school introduced this concept to me and I expanded on it later. Because shading kicked my ass. Like, I just drew plain figures and they were really boring, but I thought they were cool because I was like in 9th grade and shit. I was like, this is cool. But no, shading really helps bring things out. It lets stuff be three-dimensional, right? So, like, if you draw a circle, or an oval-ish circle, you can bask in the glory of that circle for a little while, but then realize nobody's going to hang that on the fridge. So you can put some cross-hatching in there, like stuff. You gotta learn how stuff is shaded, which is an entire other, that would require an entire other tutorial, and I'm not gonna do that, because I'm lazy. First thing with the light is coming from over here. This is something that, it may seem really stupid, but it's really helpful to just put where your light source is coming from, so you know where the light is hitting it and where there should be shadows. Should be shadows down here, for reals. This whole thing should be shaded. And you want it to be darker at the bottom, so you put some more lines. I'm a really bad teacher, maybe. Maybe I shouldn't make tutorials. Maybe I shouldn't. The lightest, strongest type here, so don't put lines there, because then you'll be like, what? Line? Maybe shadow there, which is really dark, so you put the lines closer together. And then all of a sudden your circle looks very much like a sphere. And you're like, oh my god, I'm a genius. Right? Okay, that looks kind of like crap. Leave me alone. Now, to apply it to a figure is kind of different. You have to know the anatomy and what the hell you're shading. Like Orochimaru over here. I started shading most of them. His pants are darker, so I started there. Because I'm lazy, again. But cross-hatching, really, you just build on it. It's like better than just markers where you slather everything in color or black and then you can't take it off if it looks bad because you already put it on there. Cross-hatching builds it up from lightest to darkest, so that makes it easier to know what shade you want stuff, if you should stop or if you could make it darker, or for instance I think his pants should be darker, so you can just cross over and it could be the same distance of lines or even closer together, just you know, in the opposite direction, so it builds up on itself. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? Do you guys like my fingernail polish? It makes me feel like I'm in Blade Runner. I bet half my friends don't even get that reference. Super sexy. Now I don't know how to explain what exactly, but I'm gonna try. And when you don't know what to shade and what not to shade, start with the stuff that's beneath other stuff. For instance, these his leg wraps are underneath this half a coat that is doing that thing that I made it do. So that's underneath this. Not all the way though, just a little bit. So maybe you want to shade right in this area, right over her, and give it some depth. So now you know that the coat is over his leg and not just kind of there in space. Like your fail circle. Okay, really, let's face it, it was my fail circle and it failed, okay? I'm sorry. Now, that's really all you need to know about cross-hatching, is that it's for shading. It builds up from lightest to darkest with lines. It's just lines. That's the beauty of it, because it's just lines. Usually, use just a really cheap ballpoint pen, like this. It was a government issue, so I stole it from my father. There are actually more expensive pens that are used for this, like pigment liners, and those fancy expensive ballpoint pens that are like, ooh, we're fancy, we're the same thing, but we cost more. But really, I just use ballpoint pens. This thing was so cheap, but it's lasted so long. I love it. And Sharpies. So really, I use ballpoint pens and Sharpies, and that's not expensive at all. So if some hoity-toity art person is like, what do you use? I'm like, I use ballpoint pens and Sharpies, and they're like, oh, you're disgusting. I don't care, because it looks good, right? Well, he looks alright so far. I'm not done with him. But if you know what you're doing, it just takes a lot of practice. Just practice is all. You know, with shapes and figures, go find yourself a lamp and shine it on stuff, so you know where your shading is. And maybe you can do something like this someday. This is entirely cross-hatching. Oh. Right? So that looks pretty cool, right? Not so bad. It's all just lines. And I even used some stipple over here on these stalactites. So I thought I was being pretty fancy. I was like, look at me, mixing it up. I'm so clever. So yeah, I hope that helped, and I hope that made sense, because if it did, maybe I'll make some more, and maybe I'll get better at it, because that's how you get better at things, right? You do more of it. And then really that's all there is to cross-hatching. You just practice, and eventually your own style will come out of it. You won't even notice. That's all I have to say. Bye guys, thank you for watching my video. I'm sorry that I'm not doing any more fan animations. I'm just way too lazy to make the character models, because I'm a lazy bastard. And I'll try to do that. I'm taking classes and stuff, and I'm in summer full-time for like the next 2 years of my life, and I'm working, so I'm really busy. I know you won't think I'm busy because you see me on Twitter all the time, but I am busy. Yeah, I'm busy, okay? You don't even know. Okay, that's enough of that. Bye! Barrel roll.